Hey guys, I'm Michael from eKids. Do you remember studying Deuteronomy 6:5?
You must love the Lord your God with all of your heart and your soul and your strength.
Deuteronomy 6:5.
And you must love the Lord your God with all of your heart and your soul and your strength.
Well, if you don't, let me read it to you. Deuteronomy 6:5 in my Bible right here. It says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength." Again, that's Deuteronomy 6:5. You know, when I read the Old Testament, one thing I like to do is like to see these characters and think, well, did they love God with all of their heart? Did they love God with all of their soul? Did they love God with all of their strength? So we're going to study a new character for you today for the next few weeks, and her name is Ruth. Now, in this story, there are tons of characters, and we want to see if these characters loved God with all of their heart, all of their soul, and all of their strength. Oh, but also, while we're learning about new characters and learning new stories, there's something else that we need to see. To understand a story, you need to think about a few things. First, the characters. When you watch these stories, watch these videos, these cartoons, I want you to start thinking, who is in the story? So, characters, who? The next thing that's really difficult, but I want you to try to think about this, is the setting. The setting. The setting is where the story happens. So if you guys can start learning the characters and the setting, who and where, then the rest of the story will start making more sense. So let's work on a couple things. One, let's see if we can figure out who the characters are. Two, let's start thinking about where these characters are. And then finally, let's see if these characters love God with all of their heart, all of their soul, and all of their strength. All right, so check this out in Ruth. Here we go.
Ruth chapter 2 from the Message Bible. It so happened that Naomi had a relative by marriage, a man prominent and rich, connected with Elimelech's family. His name was Boaz. One day, Ruth, the Moabite foreigner, said to Naomi, "I'm going to work. I'm going to glean out among the sheaves, following after some harvester who will treat me kindly." Naomi said, "Go ahead, dear daughter." And so she set out. She went and started gleaning in a field, following in the wake of the harvesters. Eventually, she ended up in the part of the field owned by Boaz, her father-in-law Elimelech's relative. A little later, Boaz came out from Bethlehem, greeting his harvesters. "God be with you," they replied, "and God bless you." Boaz asked his young servant, who was a foreman over the farmhands, "Who is this young woman, and where does she come from?" The foreman said, "Why, that's the Moabite girl, the one who came with Naomi from the country of Moab. She asked permission. 'Let me glean,' she said, 'and gather among the sheaves following after your harvesters.' She's been at it steady ever since, from early morning until now, without so much as a break." Then Boaz spoke to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, from now on, don't go to any other field to glean. Stay right here in this one, and stay close to my young women. Watch where they are harvesting and follow them, and don't worry about a thing. I've given orders to my servants to not harass you. When you get thirsty, feel free to go and drink from the water buckets that the servants have filled." She dropped to her knees, then bowed her face to the ground. "How does this happen that you should pick me out and treat me so kindly? A foreigner." Boaz answered her, "I've heard all about you. I've heard about the way you treated your mother-in-law after the death of her husband, and how you left your father and mother in the land of your birth and have come to live among a bunch of total strangers. God reward you well for what you've done, and with a generous bonus besides from God, to whom you've come to seek protection under his wings." She said, "Oh, sir, such grace, such kindness. I don't deserve it. You've touched my heart, treated me like one of your own, and I don't even belong here." At the lunch break, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, eat some bread, dip it in the wine." So she joined the harvesters. Boaz passed this grain to her. She ate her fill and even had some left over. When she got up to go back to work, Boaz ordered his servants, "Let her glean where there's still plenty of grain on the ground. Make it easy for her. Better yet, pull some of the good stuff and leave it for her to glean. Give her special treatment." Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. And when she threshed out what she had gathered, she ended up with nearly a full sack of barley. She gathered up her gleanings, went back to town, and showed her mother-in-law the results of her day's work. She also gave her leftovers from her for lunch. Naomi asked her, "So, where did you glean today? Whose field?" "God bless whoever it was who took such good care of you." Ruth told her mother-in-law, "The man whom I work today, his name is Boaz." Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "God bless that man. God hasn't quite walked out on us after all. He still loves us, in bad times as well as good." And Naomi went on, "That man Ruth is one of our Circle Covenant redeemers, a close relative of ours." Ruth the Moabite said, "Well, listen to this. He also told me, 'Stick with my workers until my harvesting is finished.'" Naomi said to Ruth, "That's wonderful, dear daughter. Do that. You'll be safe in the company of his young women. No danger now of being hurt in some stranger's field." So Ruth did it. She stuck close to Boaz's young women, gleaning in the fields daily until both the barley and the wheat harvesting were finished. And she continued living with her mother-in-law.
Wow, guys, what did you think of that video? All right, so back to our characters that we talked about, because we want to think about the characters in the setting, right? We basically in chapter 2, it's mostly Boaz, so that's a new character, Boaz and Ruth, and a little bit with Naomi. And so, okay, what happens? What's going on here? Well, we see in chapter 2, Ruth meets Boaz. Who is Boaz? What's this character? He's this dude that owns lots of land and owns like a farm. And so they see that the weird word that you heard in the Bible, gleaning. Basically, she is working in the field. She's like picking stuff from the wheat or something. I'm not a farmer. I don't know how to do it. But I know she's working in the field. And so some important things happen. Boaz sees Ruth and he's like, who is this? And he finds out that she's that young Moabite woman. So let's pause there, because this helps us figure out the setting. They were in Moab, but in last chapter, in chapter 1, we find out that Ruth and Naomi move to wherever this is that Boaz is.
Dude, we know exactly where this is. It's Bethlehem. Sorry, guys. Past me was an idiot. Present me is on top of things. It's Bethlehem. It's Bethlehem. Right.
So they move. So this is important. They're not where Ruth grew up.
Well, spit it out. We're again. It's Bethlehem. Yeah. Naomi's hometown is Bethlehem. Come on, Michael, get it together.
They're actually where Naomi grew up before she moved. Pretty cool, huh? So they move back, and she's working for this guy named Boaz. And Boaz, he sees her, and I think he kind of likes her, because he's being super nice to her. You guys, you ever see a girl that you like and you end up being super nice to her? Well, that's kind of what's going on here. Boaz is being super nice. He has her eat with him and all this good stuff. And so Ruth is going back and telling her mother-in-law, Naomi, like, "Hey, man, this guy's been really nice." Well, Naomi's like, "Well, what's his name?" And she's like, "Well, his name's Boaz." She's like, "Wait a minute. Boaz is a relative of mine." So check it out. And way back in the day, when a woman's husband died, that's called a widow. So both Naomi and Ruth were widows. So when a person is a widow because her husband died, the next closest relative is the one that gets to marry this woman. That's kind of how the tradition was. Well, since Ruth died, the next closest relative to her husband that died is this Boaz character. Well, not exactly. We're going to find out a little bit more about that later. But we know that he's a close relative, because that's what the Bible said, that he was a close relative. So this is cool. The tension is building, guys. We've got Naomi, we've got Ruth, we've got Boaz, and it looks like Boaz kind of likes Ruth. Does Ruth like Boaz too? What's going to happen? But the better question for the moment is, do these characters love God with all of their heart, all of their soul, and all of their strength? Well, I don't know. It seems like Ruth's nice. She's working really hard. Seems like Boaz is nice because he's being kind to Ruth, and Naomi's helping everybody out. So right now it seems like people are being kind. It seems like they love God with their heart, their soul, and their strength. Well, all I know is I want to see what happens. It's like a romantic thing. Are these two going to get married someday? Are they going to have children? Or is this all going to fall apart? I don't know. I can't wait. We got to come back and see chapter 3. So that's it for now. For now, let's just check out chapter 1 and chapter 2, and in the future, we're going to look at chapter 3. Oh man, I'm so excited. Okay, but it's time to stop this video. So, love you. Bye.
See ya!